It's Sunday night around 6:30. Got in from my weekend run last night around 4 o'clock, 4:30. Got to bed. Um, I think I slept okay. I clearly right now I'm sick. Um, I was feeling sick while we were playing this weekend in North Carolina and doing a 12-hour gig after doing. Um, sorry, a 12-hour drive after doing a 12-hour gig. It was probably not the best for that. And I just don't feel like doing anything right now. Also, I don't know where my car keys are, so I had to get a ride home last night, and that's my only set of car keys. Lost the only phone charger that works with my working phone, so now my phone's dead. And I'm also playing a gig tonight. In a couple hours, they just messaged me. They say, "Hey, we need you to get here for the sound check right now," which is totally news to me. I thought it was a backline kit situation. And also didn't get the full playlist of songs I need to learn until maybe an hour ago. And it's just like, man, one of those days where it's like an absolute grind. I mean, the weekend's been a grind. I need a break. But sometimes, like when you're sick and the show must go on, right? And I so want to call in a sub for this gig or just say, hey guys, sorry, I can't make it. Um, and I don't want to do that because I try to treat every gig like it's the most important gig in the world, like it's a Super Bowl. I don't know if that's good for my longevity, like I need to pace myself, but also take this really seriously and I love what I do. And I also know people who hire me really love what they do and I want to give them a great experience. Um, and man, like right now, I want it so bad. I want to keep climbing, I want to keep grinding. And some days it's just like, ugh, I don't know if I can keep up this pace. So man, there's a lot going on. I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed right now. Um, and I'm not saying this necessarily for sympathy, and I'm not saying this to say woe is me, just saying that it's not easy. Um, Not that I don't love it or don't enjoy it, but I just want other people to know that if you ever have a day you're like, I don't know if I can keep going. Yeah, I'm having one of those days. So I'm about to have to learn about 9 new songs on the way to a gig, and hopefully I don't pass out running a fever right now. But again, the show must go on. So we'll see what happens. It's Monday, the day after right now, and I'm still dragging. Uh, Made the gig happen last night. Learned a bunch of new songs. Went and played a set. Guess the band didn't even have a bass player. I didn't even expect that or know that, and it was just, yeah. But it went well. Everything was fine. It was great. Um, yeah, I'm just feeling it right now. And I'm a little bit sick and I'm just fatigued. Uh, and every day's a grind. I guess keeping up, doing like YouTube videos and documenting this process is the job. I like doing it. Um, and I think it's really important just to document what I'm doing and, how some days are not easy. Um, and, I don't know if there's any moral, any point that, other than that, man, it can be really tough some days. And I was on the road this weekend, and then I took a flyer on another gig with a band from I think they're from Ontario, I believe. They're coming through. They need someone to fill in for drums. And honestly, I definitely know I would have made more money playing in town, staying on Broadway, and that's not a bad or a good thing per se. Um, it's there's always going to be situations where I can make more money playing in town, or I could make less money sometimes playing a gig that might be more fulfilling for me, or sometimes I could take a flyer on a gig and it doesn't work out. And I think sometimes musicians, we beat ourselves up, or we look at things in a very kind of small frame. Like, all right, I could play with this artist and make $100 and I really love their music. Or I could go play in a cover band that I'm so about and make $500. Um, I asked a question about this, I think, on an Instagram story, and it was surprising to me that a lot of people said they would always take the $100 gig. And I can see how doing that on principle, people can say that it's really easy to say that, but doing it's a different thing. And when I was younger, I used to beat myself up or kick myself for taking a lower paying gig, or being booked with an original band that was doing a festival slot when I could be, I don't know, go playing a private party somewhere for like 3 or 4 times that pay. And looking back, I think that was pretty short-sighted. But it's based on what I want. If you want to play in cover bands, there's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to play, like, if you don't want the hassle of driving in a van 12 hours after a gig, that's completely understandable. If you want to live comfortably and make money and you're not willing to compromise on that, that is completely understandable. Likewise, if you only want to play original music, if you only want to play music like that you find artistically fulfilling, that's fine too. I think I heard this word of mouth. I don't know if this is true or not, but I think it has some weight to it. I think someone was telling me Nels Cline, his guitarist, before he joined Wilco, he was working at a bookstore because he only wanted to play music he really liked and he needed a steady paycheck. And so in between gigs, he'd work at a bookstore. I know a lot of really successful musicians in terms of visibility, in terms of their original music, that when they're off tour, they work day jobs because they only want to play their music and they don't want to go and play Wagon Wheel or Brown Eyed Girl at a bar or a corporate event. And there's nothing wrong with either of those. So me right now, it's like I'm trying to make a living, but I'm also being intentional with, all right, I want to build out my network, cast a wider net, see what's out there for me. I ultimately would like to be in a position where people are paying to come see me play, or I'm playing with artists that they're coming to see. They're seeing artists and not just a band, and those artists are paying to have Aaron Apter play, not just, oh, our drummer is going to be Aaron. They want Aaron. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But right now, it's like there's going to be a lot of gigs, a lot of chances I'm going to have to take that I realize I view it as planting seeds. And that's, if you plant a ton of seeds, not all of them are going to sprout. And that's okay. And you have to do that knowing that that's the case. That some of this stuff is going to be a sunk cost, or 80% of the gigs you're going to be doing for the first year or two are not going to be economically fulfilling, artistically fulfilling, or personally fulfilling. And if you're okay with that, but keeping in mind saying, I need to make the most out of every situation, I think good things start happening. One example is when I first got to town, I played with a guy who, I would say, for lack of better terms, we just weren't on the same page. I operated under a little different set of musical boundaries and personal boundaries and the way things are done and preparation. It's not saying he's a bad person. It's just like, okay, that wasn't a good fit, and this isn't the kind of gig I want to be doing. And I knew that, but I was like taking these gigs because I needed some money and I wanted to keep playing. And there's a bassist on the gig who was he was just graduated college, and he was like, I just need to play. And I met this bass player, and I thought, like, after like a couple gigs, I'm like, oh man, this guy's pretty good. And we kind of kept in touch. and I actually had him do some gigs with me lately. And like, maybe one day he'll call me for gigs, but he's a solid player and a solid dude. I'm like, okay, from a gig that was, most people would see as a throwaway gig, I found a really good part from it. And maybe he and I will work together in the future. This bassist, maybe I'll call him for more gigs or vice versa. But I think that's part of climbing the ladder, is that you just gotta take some chances and realize that you're gonna swing at a bunch of pitches and not all of them are gonna connect. But sometimes something good comes out of it. And really, for me right now, it's like I'm not trying to lay off the gas. I'm not trying to say, you know, I'm too good for any situation. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. It's like I want to play as much as possible. If there's three people, I will play, and I'll try to play as good as I possibly can, because you never know who's watching. But it's also just building habits as well. Yeah. So before I babble on, I'm actually just sitting in my garage because I'm still so tired that I haven't been able to like drag my drum cases in the other room. I still don't know where the keys to my car are, so my car is still over at Kevin's place. But I was able to get my drums home. But there's no key to my car. I don't know where the spare's at. Yeah, this is just comes with the territory. So hopefully next video, and I'm probably supposed to say like, subscribe, do all that kind of jazz, follow, yada yada. So hopefully next video will find me in a better spot.